Hello guys, good morning. Welcome to the channel Automation Testing 1.
The first topic which we are going to see is how to configure test data parameters in TestNG through TestNG.XML. So the first part is you need to open your TestNG.XML and you have to configure the parameters which you are going to pass to the test method. Okay. In this example, I have shown you the first syntax. The name of the parameter is username and the value which we are going to pass is standard underscore user. Okay. So this is the first configuration which we have to do it in testng.xml. Now the next step is you need to call this parameter in your test method by @parameters, and inside that in the curly braces you need to call the parameter name. Okay, this is your second step. And the third step is you need to create a variable in the particular test method. That is, if you see, I created string username 1. Okay. Now what will happen from the TestNG XML, it will look for the name and the value which is inside for the name will be passed to your particular test method. Okay. Let's see in Eclipse how it's configured. So the first step, you open your TestNG.XML. You see here, this is my test. Inside that I am passing the name as username and the value as standard user and the name password and the value as secret hot. Okay. Now, okay, I need to execute this particular test case. So what I will do is I will command this class. This you can do it by Control Shift forward slash. What will happen is it's used for multiple commands in XML. Okay. Now let's uncomment this guy. Control Shift /. Okay. Now if you see, so parameter has already been defined and we are calling this login test class. Let's open this method. Okay. So if you see, I have passed the same way which I have shown you in the screenshot. The name first is username and the second name is password. And in the function, whatever we are defining is the values. Okay. Let's go to the testng.xml. So what I have done, I'm trying to call this name. Okay. We'll see about include, exclude in the upcoming topic. Let's stick to how to pass parameter topic. Okay. So come here. If you see here, I pass this username and password. So what will happen from TestNG? It takes the username and finds the value, and the value will be passed to this particular class. Okay. So if you see here, already I have explained the page factory. So I have used page factory and the value has been passed inside username and password. Okay. So this syntax already we discussed in the last tutorial. If you are not seen, please go and see at test, at methods, at after method, all the things we have discussed. Let's see like what's going to happen. If I run this function, what will happen is, before that I will show you what is before method. In the before method, we have launch browser and launch this particular URL. Here we have username and password column. What is our expectation now is that whatever the values we pass in TestNG XML should come inside this and launch the browser. And if you see here in the after method, I am closing it. Okay. So go to TestNG.XML, right click, run as TestNG tool. Next we are running it from TestNG.XML. So the page has been opened. That's it. If you see here, one test ran and it is passed. So now we have understood how to pass parameters from TestNG XML to a test method.
How to configure test data in TestNG using a data provider. The first one is the syntax. At data provider, inside you will specify the name of the data provider. The same should be called in the test method where you are calling the particular data provider. And data provider always have a method with the same name as data provider. If you see the syntax, it's public object login credentials, and it will always return a value in a two-dimensional array. In this case, standard user and secret source, these are the two values which it's going to send to the test method. So in this case, if you see, the standard user will be passed to username and the secret source will be passed to password field. And it's not just two values you can pass, multiple values and multiple times you can pass into the data provider. That means you can run a data driven testing using a data provider. For example, 5 set of username and password if you have, you can mention all these things in comma separated. Okay, let's see an example of data provider in Eclipse. First, let's see the syntax of data provider. So if you see the line 32, at data provider annotation, I have configured the name as login credentials. So I already told you the same data provider name should be called in the test method. And the second one is I am creating a function login credentials, same name, and I am returning an object with two values. But actually in data provider we always return two-dimensional arrays. Means like in an Excel 0 0 0 1 1 0 1 1. Okay, this is how data provider collect the values. So if you see here, standard user and secret source, the first one will be passed at the first instance of the test method, and the second one, standard user 1 and secret source 1, will be passed as a second instance of the test method. So this is how we are achieving data driven testing using a data provider. Means if you pass 5 input values, that means 5 times it's going to run the test method with different data values. Okay, now if you come and see how we are collecting it, say I already explained you, this is how we collect the information. Means like you will give the same name which you have provided for data provider and the username and password. So what is going to happen now, it will log into the page first time with the first user ID and password, and second time with the second user ID and password. So let's come to the TestNG.XML. Here there is no configuration change, just I am calling this function. Let's run this. So the Chrome has been called, it enters the first user ID and password. So one run is completed and it's going to run the second user ID and password, and the second run is completed. And if you see, 2 runs and 2 passes, but if you see what happened, we are going to call the same test method with 2 different values. So let's open. If you see here, it will be clear. So first time it logged in standard user and secret source, and the second time it logged in with standard user 1 and secret source 1. So hope you people understood how to use at data provider annotation. Okay, so what we have completed, parameter using TestNG.XML, and now data provider annotation. Okay, now what we are going to see is how to use data provider with Excel. Means all the test data will be provided in the Excel, and you will take it through data provider and you will pass it to the TestNG test method. Okay, this is how we are going to achieve data driven testing using Excel data provider TestNG. Okay, because it's not feasible to pass 100 or 50 username and password via data provider directly here. You can pass, but it won't look good. It's not a configurable manner. So what we are going to do, we are going to achieve it through Excel. If you have not gone through my Excel reading tutorial, please go back and just gone through, because I am not going to explain deeply about Excel now. We are going to see only how we can retrieve value from the Excel and collect it in the data provider class. Okay. So the syntax remains the same. At data provider, login credential Excel. This is the new name I have given. Now I am creating a two-dimensional array, object array, and inside that I am going to call the Excel function, where I will collect all the Excel values, means like username and password which I have provided in Excel. Okay. Now let's see. There are two parameters which you have to pass for this. One is the path of the file and the second one is the sheet name. Okay. Let's go into this function. I'll just give you a quick overview. Okay. Now file path has been collected here and sheet name has been collected here. So first what I have to, in order to read a file, you need to create a file input stream. File input stream, you have to create it and you have to pass the path of the file. First step. Second step is you need to create a workbook instance and you have to pass this file input stream inside the workbook instance. Okay. And the third step is create a sheet property and you have to get the sheet, and as we know the sheet name, I passed it here. So for this collection purpose, I just initiated start row as 0, start column as 0. It always depends based on how you are reading the Excel and where the values are available in the Excel. Okay. Now if you see here, I am going to collect all the values using tab array. Okay, this is this one which I have defined in the initial. So total my array will have, it's a two-dimensional array and it will have 4 values. First username and first password, and second username and second password. Okay. Now I am going to run the loop. As we already seen, if you have not seen, go and check the Excel tutorial. Okay. How to read an Excel tutorial. Now sheet dot get row of I, get cell of j, means like 0, 0 in the first instance, dot get string value. So the first instance will take 0, 0, second instance will take 0, 1, and third instance 1, 0, and the fourth instance 1, 1. So total 4 values will be collected in the table array. And just I close the workbook class and return the tab array. Okay. Hope you people understood this Excel part. Now remaining thing is straightforward. How we have done for data provider, it will work in the same way. So it's collected. Now if you come to, so here there is no change, as simple as that. So once the Excel values are collected in the array list, it will pass first, second. So this is also going to run for 2 times. Okay, there is no change here. Let me take this and change it here. So let's run this. What's going to happen? So what is the expectation? Whatever there in the Excel should be collected in the data provider and it should be passed to the particular test suite. So if you see, I have printed all the 4 values. So one instance second instance. So total 2 runs and 2 passed. Let's come and see. If you see, the first row will have this and second row will have this. If you want, I can show the Excel how I have configured. Okay, let's open it. Sometimes in Eclipse it won't allow you to open the Excel file, so it's better we go there and open this file. So here you go, the first row and the second row, the both has been ran. So this is how we can achieve data-driven testing in TestNG using a data provider and also an Excel. So hope you people understood 3 concepts. One is parameter, which I have shown first. Second one is data provider, means data provider where you will directly pass the test data. And the third one which we have seen is very important thing, how to use Excel with data provider and TestNG. This is the standard way of using a data driven testing, and it will be very easy also to configure. Okay, now what we are going to see. So this is how this parameterization works. Now what we are going to see is assertion. So what is testing? So end of testing, what we are going to do, what we are expecting should match the actual. Means the business case that is expected should match with the actual. So how do we validate that in TestNG? So assertion is the method which used to compare the expected result with the actual result. Okay. So for this I have created a class. Okay. Now before going to that part, we have 2 types of assertion. One is hard assertion, second one is soft assertion. Hard assertion or default assertion. What happens? If the hard assertion fails in the first step, it exits the test method and fails it. In case if we want to move ahead even the first assertion fails, then we go for soft assertion. So if the soft assertion fails, still it goes to the continuous assertions, and if it passes, the test case will pass. Okay, this is how assertion works. Let's see this with an example. So this is my example. If you see here, I am going to take expected as Google. I am going to take the title from the Google browser, because I am going to run google.com and get title. So now what is our expectation? We are expecting Google equal to Google. So assert equals, if you see here, you can see it's a string. This one also string. If both are equal, then this particular test will pass. Okay, this is our first scenario. And the second scenario which we are going to see is fail scenario. Means like first case, what I have done is expected messages Yahoo, and the second one which is I have created for soft assertion, we'll see it later. And I want this also to be okay. Let's comment this assertion parts. Sorry. Sometimes mouse works very weird. Okay. So now what will happen is it compares Yahoo with Google, and I am expecting this should be failed. Okay. And the third one, see this both is function I used assert equals, and the third one which I am using is assert true. So it will be expecting a boolean value. So what I am doing is expected message dot equals ignore case message. So this is how you compare string in Java, not like Google equal to Yahoo. That's not going to work. When you want to compare an string using a Java, you have to use dot equal signal case, or you have to convert to toString and do a comparison. Okay, so let's run this. So what is our expectation? 2 should pass and 1 should fail. And with that, I am also going to explain one more thing. What is that? Priority, which we already see. TestNG comes with a prioritization concept. So priority means what? So whatever has priority 1 will execute first, 2 will execute second, and 3 will execute last. Okay, this is how the priority works. Okay, so if you see here, this is how you define the priority. Priority 1. So Google assert fail. This method is going to execute first, and this one is second, and this one is the final one. Okay, let's go to TestNG and call this guy Google Asserts. Correct. I want to run the whole assertion, not just this one. So what I would do is I go here, this class, Control Shift, comment it, Control Shift, uncomment it. So Google Asserts. I want to run the whole class. So I will comment this. Control Shift. So what will happen now? It will go to assertion validation. I am expecting all the assertions to run. Let's run this. Come on. So the fail scenario ran. Google, Yahoo. So what is expectation? This one should fail. And the second one. It's Google. It should pass. And the third one. This is also Google. So it will pass. So what is the expectation? 3 runs, passes 2, and 1 is failed. Okay. So the failed one, which you already know that assertion error, it got failed. Okay, because we have used hot assertion. Now I will show you in the same case the soft assertion. Okay, let's come here. So hard assertion is a default assertion, but soft assertion you need to define it. Soft assert, and you have to define this and you have to call this. Okay, now what is our expectation is expected message. In the hard assert, I will put this one message, expect message 1 means Google, so it will match. So now what we are doing is the first step we are comparing Yahoo and Google, but that is a soft assert. So what is the expectation? It comes to the next assert. So what happened in the previous case? It got failed, right? Now you see like how exactly it behaves. So what is the expectation? All 3 should pass because the first soft assert will fail, but when it comes to this hard assert, expected message Google will match the Google. Okay. So I will run it from here. It makes sense. Run as TestNG. So let's see what is the result for this. So that's it. If you see here, now it's not failed, right? 3 runs and all three are passed. So that's all about assertion. Inside assertion we have lot of functions, means like assert true, assert false, assert not equals. Based on your validation you can use the particular assertion. Okay, now let's see about the one which you are seeing from the beginning. It's like include and exclude. So what is include and exclude? So include means I want this method to be ran. Exclude means I want to ignore this method. As simple as that. So what I will do is, let's see some good examples for this. So source demo. So if you see here, I'm going to use include with regex. So please give attention. So if you see here, so all these functions starts with source demo login, par, dat and excel. Okay. Now let's configure this. Dot star. Okay. Let's uncomment this. Control shift. Backslash. Done. So I will comment this guy. Okay, done. So what is our expectation? It should run all the source demo login. Why? Because even though if you mention include of regex we have used, so all the three methods are starting with source demo login dot star. For testing purpose we'll do one thing. We'll just change this guy to demo 1. So what is the expectation? This should not run and the remaining all the three should run. Source demo login. Okay, let's run and check what's going to happen. So how many test cases should run? See, total 3 test cases ran and total 3 passed. Okay, means source demo login dot star. So this is how it works. So why it ran 3 times source demo? So this one didn't run, this one ran, and the other one is passed with 2 parameters. So totally we have 3 test cases passed and 3 test cases ran. So hope you people understood how you can use include class. Now let's do one thing. Let's use exclude of the same. Sorry. Exclude of the same. Now let's run. What's going to happen? So whatever follows this, that will be excluded. Remaining only one is pending, that is our Excel one, which I have just renamed. So if you see, that has run. So this is how we can include or exclude the test case in a TestNG. Okay, hope you understood this. The same can be achieved using enabled and disabled. So just one example I'll show you. So enabled equal to false means it will ignore only this record. So let's run this. Directly I'll run instead of XML. So only 2 is going to run, 1 is not going to run because we have mentioned as enabled equal to false. So okay, did you got? So total we have 3 test cases here, and I mentioned enabled equal to false. Means even though I didn't specify anything in the TestNG, still we can restrict it using a enabled equal to false command. So today whatever we have seen, keep in mind you have to practice it, otherwise you will forget. Okay, so what and all we have seen, the first one is parameter, second one is data provider, and third one is data provider Excel with TestNG, and the fourth one is assertion, very important thing for testing purpose, and include and exclude, and in that we have seen how to use regex in include. Means it starts with dot star if you mention in the TestNG.XML how it behaves, prioritization using a priority keyword, and enable true or false to skip the test cases. And the final one which I'm going to show you is reporter class, which I have already shown you here. If you see here, it's very simple. Just what you have to do is reporter.log whatever you want to report it in the final report. Just put it in log, reporter log, and just run it. So for example here Google asserts, right? Let's run this. And if you see, if you have called reporter.even, it will be printed in your HTML. Still you can enhance your report, because reporting is one of the important concepts, because the testing finally ends when the reporting is done properly. So let's see like how to use extend reports and achieve the same. So okay, let's go for the report. So it will be under your test output. Just refresh it if you want to see it, the latest one, and available report HTML. Try to open with web browser, and here you go. So here you go, see whatever report event I have mentioned there, you're able to see it here, right? So that is how report works. So that's it. So we'll see the remaining things. Usually mostly what we are going to see is parallel testing using TestNG in the upcoming tutorial. Stay tuned. Thank you. Thanks for watching.